Hiya, Kruhi here. I wanted to start off today's video by saying thank you so much for 100 subscribers. I'm just blown away. I appreciate the support so much, and I can't say how much it means to me. I wanted to say thank you to Ace of Doodles for giving me a shout out that helped push my channel over the 100 mark. It means so much to me to have that support. By the way, their channel is super cute, so if you have a chance, please go check them out. I'll be linking them in the description. Today, we're going to be doing something a little different. The art you'll see in this video is actually traditional rather than digital, and that's because I'm working on the thank you letters that will be going out to my patrons for April. $5 patrons and up receive a sticker in the mail, which changes each month, as well as a handwritten and decorated thank you letter, which also changes. So if you're interested in getting in on a new sticker design each month, please check out patreon.com/Kruhi or follow the link that I'll be putting in the description. Also, sorry for the weird camera footage and the shakiness. I don't actually have a desk, so this was filmed on a plank of wood at the end of my bed, specifically an old wine crate lid. So, the whole board sort of shifts whenever I move a little. I'm using the Komarebi, sorry if I butchered that, Japanese watercolor paint set. I'll leave a link to that in the description for anyone who wants to try it out. They are highly pigmented watercolors, which I think are absolutely beautiful, easy to use, and affordable. So as I was working on these letters, I was thinking about some of my artist habits that I still haven't gotten rid of in traditional art. I've taken the time to sort of try to beat out my poor digital art habits for the most part, but I keep catching myself doing some pretty dumb things when I do traditional art, so I thought, might as well talk about them. Now, these aren't pet peeves, but actual bad habits that I know that I do or that I did, and at least a few hundred other artists pick up at some time or another. For some hellish reason, we're all just picking up the same bad habits. So I'm going to talk about 3 traditional art and 3 digital art habits that I think it's important to break. Please remember that these are all my opinions and aren't necessarily fact. If you want to add your opinion in the description about any of these habits, or things that I missed or anything else, I would love to hear from you. So with that out of the way, without further ado, let's get into it. The first bad habit being called out today is, drumroll please don't lick your paintbrushes. I know to some it sounds so gross and you might be thinking to yourself, why would anyone do that? But there's a reason a lot of people do, and it's a good reason. It helps to keep the stiff peak of your brush, it keeps all of the bristles going in the right direction, and it helps keep that really fine point, especially if you need to do detail work. Unlike water, it keeps everything together until it gets wet again, but out of all these habits today, if you're a brush licker, please stop, for nothing else than your own health. While this isn't as bad as, let's say, the radium girls of the 1920s, you still don't want to be ingesting paint or paint residue. It's full of many chemicals that are fine for art supplies, but aren't meant to be consumed. Doing so can lead to sickness in many forms, so if you still want your brushes looking stiff, use the bird method. Lick your fingertips, clean fingertips, and like a bird, preen your brush by pinching them at the base and dragging to the tip, which should create the same thing that putting them between your lips would, but you're not going to be ingesting your paint. That isn't to say that all paints are bad or will kill you or anything. Some may be non-toxic, though side note, non-toxic does not mean edible. Please do not try eating your paints. But, other paints might not be non-toxic. Many watercolors or acrylic paints generally are, but that's not to say all of them are. So unless you know for sure, it's just better not to go sticking them in your mouth. Second traditional art habit that needs to be cracked, and I know because I still do this, and I've been trying to stop since the 7th grade, is leaning in too close to your picture. Whether it's a painting or a drawing or even a paper collage, it's really not good to have your nose 3 inches from what you're doing. Having your work too close to your face might not damage your eyesight permanently, but it can cause what is called temporary eye strain, which can lead to sore, tired, burning, or itching eyes, watery or dry eyes, blurred or double vision, headaches, sore neck, shoulders, or back, increased sensitivity to light, and difficulty concentrating. All of which are not very fun, and things that some of these things I've actually experienced from doing this very thing. So, as just a word of caution, try to keep a good distance between your face and the work that you are doing, which keeps that banana posture and burning eyes at bay. So the third traditional bad habit is forgetting to take a break, which actually counts for digital artists as well. Many creatives forget to take a break, which can lead to burnout more quickly and, overall poor health. It's important to stand up and walk away from your work every few hours to give your brain and your body a break. Go for a walk, take a relaxing shower, eat some food. Yes, I'm talking to you, the person who forgets to eat for 12 hours because you were too in the zone. And, just generally get your blood flowing. There's a good medical reason why moving around is important. Sitting for too long has the chance of causing blood clots in your legs, as well as leg and joint pain, and possibly even hemorrhoids. So just, do yourself a favor and take a short break every now and again. Also, remember to drink water. Just because you're not exercising does not mean you don't need water. Now, moving on to bad digital art habits, I'm gonna say that this first one is pretty obvious, but it's not saving frequently. Which is actually more of, not having formed a good habit yet, but yeah. Save constantly. It sounds silly, but there have been times, even when I've been, working on a fantastic, top-of-the-line computer, that my Photoshop has just up and quit for no perceivable reason. Nowadays, because it's a habit for me to press Ctrl-S every 5 to 10 minutes, or between switching tools, Photoshop closing is just, a slight annoyance. And of course, the seed of an anxiety-fueled worry that my computer is about to shit the bed. But when I was younger, even a couple years ago, it was the end of the world. Having an hour of progress lost because the power goes out, or someone blows a breaker in your house, or just because Photoshop wants a micro nap, is not a good feeling. So I always suggest that digital artists, from sound artists to illustrators or anyone making something creative on a computer, form the habit of auto-saving as you work. Habit 1.5, because this isn't technically, it's kind of tied in to saving, is save duplicates. A lot of people don't do this, and I think it's a good habit to do. This is one thing that I haven't heard a lot of people telling others to do, but I'm going to tell you right now. It's important, and here's why. Let's say you get a commission for a big piece, you work on it for a few hours, you show a work in progress to your client, and all of a sudden, your file becomes corrupted. You run it through some programs to see if it can be salvaged, but nah, and suddenly you need to write an awkward email to your client saying that you're gonna need a few more days to remake that work, or maybe just a few hours, it depends on how much you lost. It's frustrating to lose all of that time, and even more so if you did everything right, such as saving and closing down your program properly, and, and still your file was corrupted. That scenario actually happened to me. It sucked, and while the client was super understanding, it didn't change that about 4.5 hours were flushed right down the toilet. Personally, I consider myself lucky. I just had to redo the line work and hadn't gotten into the coloring phase yet, but now I save all my projects twice. Pretty much anything that I can't finish in a day gets a second save file, and when I'm finished with the project 100%, I delete the duplicate to save space, but I think it's just a good habit to get into so that you don't end up having the worst happen. So moving on to the actual second bad art habit, or really, again, just the lack of a good habit, is not knowing your hotkeys. In my opinion, hotkeys are super important. There was a time I didn't really use them and sort of just used the sidebar or tool menus in Photoshop to find what I wanted, and looking back, I cringe at how slow that was and how much it took me out of the flow of what I was doing to do that. I know that with some pen pads and digital art tools that a keyboard isn't always available, but oftentimes there's a way to assign buttons to the hotkeys that you need. Hotkeys aren't always available, but whenever given the chance, I suggest people learn them and make them habitual so you don't even have to think about what your offhand is doing while you draw and switch between tools. Which also goes back up to what we were talking about before with saving. If it becomes habitual to use a hotkey to save, then it saves you a lot of time and energy and heartbreak. And the last bad habit for digital artists is not working at 300 ppi. For anyone who doesn't know, ppi stands for pixels per inch. I used to do this all the time when I was a newer digital artist. Personally, unless art someone is doing relies on pixelation or for some reason your computer can't handle 300 ppi, I think it's important to use it as much as possible. Not only will it make your art look better, but it's important to know how to do things at the size that is pretty much industry standard at this point. If an artist ever wants to sell their work, take commissions, or any of those fun things that help you make money as an online artist, it's imperative to get used to working at a size that people would be expecting to buy. By working at something like 72 ppi, it means that your work can never be made into prints or stickers without the quality being blurry or just downright bad, and no one will want to buy that. So it's good to get into the habit of just working at 300 plus, and that way if you are really proud of something that you made, you can turn it into merch if you want to. Though, when revealing stuff like that on social media, instead of using 300 ppi PNG files, I'd suggest saving a copy at a lower PPI JPG file so that others have a harder time stealing your work. Well, that was my 6, technically, and a half bad artist habits that in my opinion people should try to correct for a multitude of reasons, from health to ease of use to, future career goals. Let me know if I missed any by leaving any bad habits you know of in the description, as I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to me. If you liked what you saw here, maybe consider tossing up a like for this video, or even subscribing if you want to see more in the future. Again, if you are interested in the monthly Patreon stickers, please check out the link in the description, and as always, I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye!